Hello and welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. We're going to be breaking down the 2026 rankings of the top 17 cybersecurity consultant companies. Look, if you're a business leader, an executive, or a founder, you already know that ransomware and data breaches are basically a growing tax on simply running a business these days. But the real challenge? It isn't just finding a cybersecurity firm, it's finding the perfect fit for your specific operational needs. So we're going to unpack exactly who the major players are this year and how you can choose the absolute right one to protect your enterprise.
Okay, let's dive into this. The ultimate executive dilemma when hiring a cybersecurity consultant really boils down to this single question. Are you choosing a firm that simply hands you a generic PDF invoice and a glossy report, or are you partnering with one that actually gets into the trenches to find and fix your weak spots? We want to make sure you're firmly in that latter category, actually securing your assets and keeping your board completely confident.
To get us there, here's our roadmap. First up, the new evaluation criteria. Then, we'll hit the top 17 rankings for 2026. After that, we'll tackle the big brand versus boutique debate, help you find your perfect match, and finally, share a really practical, jargon-free framework for evaluating your shortlist. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The new evaluation criteria, separating real performers from marketing hype. Before we start naming names, we have to know exactly how these top-tier firms were evaluated. Because, let's be honest, reputation alone simply isn't enough anymore. When the rubber meets the road, there are 5 core buyer criteria separating the best from the rest. First, senior leadership, meaning senior experts are actually leading your engagement, not just showing up for the slick sales pitch and vanishing. Second, technical depth. Having deep expertise in a couple of key areas is way more valuable than a firm with a shallow grasp of everything. Third, vendor neutrality. Fourth, fixed pricing, so you get defined scope proposals instead of those scary open-ended hourly bills. And fifth, client outcomes, like measurable risk reduction and actual audit pass rates. And this brilliantly illustrates what actually predicts if you'll be happy with a firm a year down the line. I want to pause here and really highlight this specific criterion, vendor neutrality. This is a massive differentiator in the market right now. Think about it. If your consultant is quietly making a commission by reselling you a specific software tool, their advice is fundamentally compromised. Genuine enterprise security absolutely requires independent, unbiased recommendations based strictly on your unique architecture.
Section 2. Top 17 Consultant Rankings, the 2026 Market Leaders.
These firms were rigorously evaluated on their reputation, specific service offerings, industry expertise, global presence, and most importantly, client satisfaction. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the top 5. You can see Booz Allen Hamilton taking the #1 spot, heavily driven by their unparalleled expertise in government and defense. Then we have Deloitte and KPMG right behind them, followed by Accenture and Willis Towers Watson. The Big Four and these massive global integrators clearly dominate the top spots for general enterprise and government industries. But they aren't the only players that matter.
Rounding out the rest of the top 17, we have a really fascinating mix. The list includes heavyweights like BDO, Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey, EY, and IBM Consulting. But we also see specialized cybersecurity titans making the cut, like Optiv and Palo Alto Networks. So it's this dynamic blend of massive global conglomerates and laser-focused tech leaders.
Section 3. Big brand versus boutique, the structural dilemma.
This brings us to the elephant in the room. When you're making a purchasing decision, you have to understand the major structural differences in how value is delivered between massive brand name firms and specialized boutiques. Let's put them head to head. Big brand firms give you incredibly high brand recognition, which boards absolutely love. However, they typically feature partner-led sales but junior staff delivery. They command premium pricing and use highly standardized, risk-averse methodologies. On the flip side, specialist boutiques offer practitioner-led sales where senior experts actually deliver the work. They offer mid-tier pricing, a focus on single engagements without constantly pushing cross-sells, and highly custom, outcome-focused recommendations. It's essentially massive scale versus senior-level custom methodology.
And that structural difference, it heavily impacts your budget, $300 to $600. That is the typical hourly rate for a Big Four firm. If you compare that to specialized boutiques, well, they usually range from $150 to $350 an hour.
So the crucial point is understanding what we call the boutique advantage. The report notes that if your business is under 500 employees, hiring a massive global firm often means you're being assigned their junior staff, while still paying that premium rate. But with specialized boutique consultants like Atlant Security, for example, they assign senior architects to every single engagement. You're getting veterans who used to work at Microsoft or HP, giving you significantly deeper expertise at a fraction of the cost.
Section 4. Your perfect consultant match, aligning by size and sector. Because let's be real here, a massive global corporation needs a very different partner than a Series A SaaS startup. Let's look at how business size should directly dictate the type of firm you shortlist. If you're a small business or startup under 200 employees, you need hands-on, cost-effective consulting. Firms like Atlant Security or Optiv are ideal for personalized, compliance-ready work. If you're a medium enterprise, up to 2,000 employees, you need scalable frameworks, making EY or PwC great fits. And if you're a massive, large corporation, you need the enterprise-grade, global reach of a Deloitte or IBM.
Let's move to and see how this builds when we layer on your specific industry. Finance and banking requires deep regulatory compliance, pointing you toward KPMG or PwC. Healthcare demands strict HIPAA-compliant solutions, where EY and Accenture shine. For government and defense, you need national security clearances. Enter Booz Allen Hamilton and IBM. And for tech and SaaS, you absolutely need cloud-native, architecture-first, agile approaches, which is exactly where Atlant Security and Palo Alto Networks excel. See how your industry requirements drastically narrow down your perfect match?
Section 5. Evaluating your shortlist, the decision framework.
All right, we are at the final stage. You know your size, you know your industry, and you have a few names in mind. Now that you have a shortlist, the report outlines 4 precise, actionable steps you need to take before signing any retainer. Step 1. Define the highly specific outcomes you need in the next 6 and 12 months. Step 2. Use this research to shortlist 5 to 6 firms. Step 3. Hold focused 30-minute discovery calls structured entirely around your needs, not their sales pitch. And Step 4. Talk to at least 2 past client references who operate in your exact industry segment.
Now, during those discovery calls, you've got to watch out for these massive red flags. If you ask about hands-on remediation and they only talk about delivering PDF reports, walk away immediately. You want findings that get fixed, not just documented. If they give vague references to a team without actually naming the senior experts, run. If they cannot clearly articulate framework requirements like SOC 2 or NIST, or if they lack before and after case study metrics, those are literal deal breakers.
Ultimately, your goal in this selection process is to evaluate where a firm sits on this maturity ladder. You want to avoid level 1 generalists who just bolt cyber onto basic IT services. You want to actively move up this ladder, graduating past simple service catalogs all the way up to level 4 expert advisors or level 5 trusted partners. A level 5 partner has a board-level relationship with you, delivers measurable results, and actually accelerates your enterprise deals because your security posture becomes a true competitive advantage. And just to set your expectations for budgeting time and resources, here's what a typical timeline looks like once you sign. A standard security audit is going to take about 2 to 4 weeks. If you're building out a SOC 2 readiness program, expect that to run 3 to 6 months. And if you're bringing on ongoing virtual CISO leadership, those are typically 6 to 12-month retainers. Knowing these timelines means you know exactly what kind of commitment your organization is stepping into.
I want to leave you with this one provocative question to take back to your next leadership meeting. Look at the vendor you're currently using, or the one you're about to hire, and honestly ask yourself, is your current cybersecurity consultant reducing real business risk or just handing you an invoice? Use the framework we went through today to rigorously evaluate your security partnerships and demand better, more measurable outcomes. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay secure and keep building.